In this video we will be addressing one of the most talked about quotes from the Bible that can be found in Matthew 27:46, Mark 15:34, and Psalm 22:1, which is Eli, Eli, lama sabachthani, which originates from the Aramaic language and translates in English to, my God, why have you forsaken me? The questions usually asked is, why exactly did Jesus say this from the cross, and what does this mean? And did God just abandon Jesus? Well, stick around as we dive in and uncover the reality of what these verses really show us. We often talk about the cross as a sacrifice, but have you ever looked at it as the ultimate plot twist? There's a fundamental truth in this story: God cannot behold sin. His nature is so holy that he cannot look upon evil. So what happens when the lead character in the greatest story ever told, Jesus, takes on every sin ever committed? This is where the author does something mind-bending. Because God cannot look at sin, he literally turned his face away from the cross. If sin results in the reality of 2 Thessalonians 1:9, eternal destruction, away from the presence of the Lord, then for one staggering moment in time, Jesus experienced that exact reality. This wasn't just a physical death, it was agony in its entirety. Jesus experienced the worst possible punishment, not only in the flesh through the nails and the thorns, but also in the spirit. He bore the gut-wrenching weight of spiritual abandonment, the second death script that was written for us. He literally took the hit in every dimension of his being. And here's the most staggering part: God literally gave it all up for us. Think about that. There was nothing left in the divine treasury that he held back. The author stepped into his own story, stripped himself of his comfort, his glory, and even his connection to his own divine self. Everything he had to give, he gave. Jesus himself said it, "Greater love has no one than this, to lay down one's life for one's friends." But on the cross, he didn't just lay down his physical life, he laid down his spiritual peace. He gave up everything that made him God in that moment, just to keep the story of us alive. And because the author himself experienced the depths of that hell, the judgment that remains is perfectly justified. If a person chooses to stay in their sin, God can justifiably leave them in that separation, because it is not a sentence that he wasn't willing to serve himself. It removes all excuses. The judge didn't just pass the sentence, he took the punishment first, so that we do not have to. In this moment, two things were true at once. First, we have the physical sign, the eclipse of God. When the sky went dark, the author gave a visual cue. In the Bible, darkness at noon is a definitive sign of judgment. By turning the lights off, the author signaled that his favor had been withdrawn. The weight of our sins had eclipsed the light, as divinity itself could not remain in the presence of sin displayed on the cross. Thus, in that singular moment in time, the divine connection was severed, so that Jesus Christ could endure the full blow of judgment on our behalf. Second, the prophetic proclamation. Even in that spiritual agony, Jesus cries out, my God, why have you forsaken me?" By quoting Psalm 22, he's telling the audience, look at the script. This moment of total abandonment was written for me. The prophecy written roughly 1,000 years before the crucifixion was being fulfilled right before their very eyes. This was the author's masterstroke. God orchestrated the reality of absence to satisfy justice. Jesus gave up everything, his life and his spirit, so that we wouldn't have to. But because he was the author in the flesh, he couldn't stay there. Psalm 16:10, "For thou wilt not leave my soul in hell, neither wilt thou suffer thine Holy One to see corruption." He stepped into the darkness of hell, paid the penalty in full, and then closed that chapter forever. The door is open. The price is paid, but every story needs a response. The author has played his part and stripped himself of everything to offer you a way out of the darkness. Now, the script is in your hands. If the author was willing to experience hell so you wouldn't have to, what will you do with that love? The separation is over, but the choice to walk through that door is yours. Thank you for staying tuned in, and if you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to like and subscribe and turn on that notification bell to stay updated on future videos. Take care, and I'll see you in the next one.